Let's get started. It's time already, 15 o'clock GMT. So hope everyone is well, and let's get started with the market update this New York session. Okay, so let me take a look at a few things that I'm looking at still, and then any questions, just let me know, and then let's get started. So still really favor the S&P 500. I'm still looking at S&P 500 for a potential sell. Price is still reacting in this area, still consolidating. So I'm looking for some sort of reversal kind of price action from this point forward, and then looking for price to go down to the previous low. Okay, I still think there is a good chance that we can get that. Whatever that the price does here or overall in this structure is very important. So far, it's looking like we're getting this head and shoulder pattern. So this New York session, I want to see what will happen here. Can we get the breakdown from this and we break below this? Then looking for more downside this point forward. And that's kind of what I see on most of the US indices as well. Okay. Same with NASDAQ. NASDAQ, same thing. Um, Previous top, double top, we had this push down, and potentially we're just looking at this as a potential kind of structure still making. Not yet complete, can still expand, can still kind of just consolidate upwards, downwards for a little while before we see the move down from this point forward. And Dow Jones, same idea as S&P, very similar structure. We're just kind of price is just kind of consolidating in this area, and I still have a reasonable doubt that we can still have this head and shoulder. We can still see some sort of reversal price action from this point forward. Just give it a little bit more time, even if it come up to the top here, structurally still makes sense for the sell. Okay, so still keeping an eye on all the indices, especially the US one, for a potential bearish move down to the previous low. Structurally, still looking very clean, just waiting for what's going to happen here finish, and we're likely to get that bearish move down from this point forward. So that's what I see on most of the US indices. Even a couple other ones, even a couple other ones here on, let's say DAX, right? Same idea. I'm still looking at this. Looks like it's forming a correction here, and even if it push up a little bit more to the top, to this double top or top of the structure, I would still be looking for a potential bearish move from this point forward. Euro 50, same idea. We're in this larger structure again. Price is so correctiveness, right? Looking like it's forming an ascending kind of channel structure, so a reversal potentially, and reacting to this previous top. And France 40, very similar like Euro 50, reversal kind of structure, top of the overall structure, potentially can have a move down from this point forward. So globally, macro-wise, that's kind of what I'm seeing on most of the US in this, most of the indices around the world. And let's jump to currency now. Let's take a look at currency, see what we're looking at, see what's available for the remaining kind of the week. Good day, good day. Nice to see you guys. So let's take a look at dollar index. So personally, I still have a bias. I still have a bias for the long on dollar. Okay, I know we've been kind of consolidating the here for a really long time. And structurally wise, I'm still looking for a possible long, and that's going to be the same on all the dollars still, even till at this point. We'll go into that really quick. But dollar index wise, I still like the overall structure, and I talk about this every outlook when I do, is that I still see this as a potential structure to correct this overall bullish move. And can we get this next bullish move up? And I'm still keen to see if we can get that strength in dollar. And that's as long as price is still within this kind of key area that we're seeing, I'm still gonna hold a bias for the long. All right, I know it's taking longer. I know it's consolidated, but that is what happens sometimes, right, guys? Just have to be a little bit more patient and waiting for price to develop further, right? When we look at the higher time frame, we know that we've been dropping so much already, right? We drop out of this overall structure, and this was kind of the previous low area, and you can see price is just kind of stalling in this area. It's being very corrective. It's not moving anywhere. what is likely to do is just forming a deeper kind of consolidation and correction, and we likely can see the push up from this. Okay, if this is going to be a continuation for this move, then it's still likely going to be making a way up, right? You're gonna have to have a continuation structure here on the higher time frame and still looking down like this. But structurally wise, I do see another push up from where we are right now is very valid, right? Even to this previous top, and then kind of reevaluate to see if we're going to get the continuation because of the higher time frame, or this overall structure is just a reversal for all this move, and we're going to see the bullish from the dollar. So that's kind of my bias still on the dollars. Okay, so let's go into a few dollar pairs now, and let's look at Aussie dollar really quick. Aussie dollar wise, structurally still within this overall kind of expanding structure. Right, we're seeing this move. We're seeing this kind of ascending channel on the top. Prices reacting to the top, right? And we go down to the lower time frame. You can see that this is exactly that kind of consolidation area we see on the higher time frame, right? So structurally, price action while we're still in this area, and we talk about that. Price action, we're not always 100% sure when the larger, deeper correction can be over, but going down to the lower time frame will give us a little bit more clarity, a little bit more confirmation, right? So on the 1 hour here, there is a few correction impulses within this correction, but the key here is understanding, is this correction over? Because this is a key to be able to bring down this overall larger correction, because we're at the top now. And if this is going to be the reversal correction for this lower time frame push, then we can certainly see this reversal impulse down and expanding structure completes, right? This expanding structure is still a correction for this move. Okay, so what I'm still seeing this as an impulsive move. This is just a correction, and then correction on the lower time frame, looking for the next sell down to the lows. Okay, and let's go into a few other Kiwi dollar pairs. Sorry, and Kiwi dollar. We've been talking about Kiwi dollar. I know we've been shorting Kiwi dollar, and it's just not the time that it's going to drop. But this is what we as price action traders, we understand that when the price is in this consolidation area, okay, there's a very high probability we're going to see the next down move, but we cannot predict, or we cannot be for sure that when this correction will be over, right? We understand that when we're in this larger overall structure, you can see that you're going to see these similar price action pattern repeat itself, right? And we're at the top of this overall structure, okay, and we're getting there in this kind of ascending channel structure, right? Very corrective, just like what we did here. So we're looking for that first sell down, right? We're always looking for the first sell down. And if we look closely here on the lower time frame, there is multiple sell down, and we trying to capture them. Even this sell, I think most of us got this sell as well, right? I was looking for continuation, and my understanding there was a Kiwi news that pop out, and then we see that. But news does not, and I always talk about this, news doesn't predict where it's going to go, right? News creates this volatility, good. But overall price condition, are we still not in this ascending channel? Are we still not in the higher time frame ascending channel? We are, right? So price action structure wise is still going to be the key and number one thing that we look for when we're trying to enter a trade, because that's going to give us the most clarity. So how would I approach this now? So we're still in this ascending channel. We know that even if we see all this very good lower time frame conditions, price is not still going down. So there's two possible way, of course, right? One way we can take a look at this is that we're going to the lower time frame now. We know that we just hit the previous top, right? There's just us at the top of the overall structure from the lower time frame and the higher time frame, right? So we see this first impulse down, which is good. So all I want to see is either a correction here to push down, or a correction just to break out, and then correction to enter from this point forward. Okay, so there's two ways of entering. It's just how you would manage your risk and your risk tolerance in this sense, right? But overall, structurally, this is key area now, right? I still have a very high probability that we can see that sell down from this point forward. Okay, so giving a little bit more patience on the price. We did enter a few of these sells, but we're just going to have to capture the next sell opportunities. Okay, so spend a little bit of time on Kiwi dollar here, but it's because Kiwi dollar is still my favorite dollar. looking forward to the rest of the remaining week. And that's going to euro dollar now. So euro dollar, we know that structurally we just still at this top of the area now, right? We talked about this in the weekly outlook last time. When we're at the top of the structure, we just break the previous top, and then price push down from this point forward, and potentially a continuation structure here on the lower time frame. And it's pretty corrective here, right? We know that price is rather corrective. We see some sells, we see some pullback, right? But overall, we're still kind of contained in this area. So the safer side, in my opinion, still waiting for a breakout from here. I think it's the safer side because what the latest price action has been, right? We want to see the breakout from here and then potentially lower time frame to continue. Because structurally, this structure is just another expanding structure for this move. We've seen this over on a few dollar pairs already, right? We've been seeing that across the board. So waiting for something here to happen, waiting for something here to pretty much finish itself, and then looking for the downside with valid. Okay, but not my favorite dollar here. Like I said, Kiwi dollar looks more favorable. And let's talk about pound dollar really quick as well. How am I? Good, good. It's nice to see you guys. Pound dollar here. So we know that again, pound dollar a little bit tricky, right? We still seeing this very corrective up move. Originally, we're looking for this double top here, right? Remember, we're talking about double top here, push down, and then we pretty much had this push up and then push down once more. And then if we go down to the lower time frame, again, it was very, very tricky here. Trying to form a correction here for the sell. Didn't happen, popped to the upside, maybe take some of other traders out, but still continued downwards. So because we've been seeing kind of very consolidated price action here for the last week to 2 weeks or so, again, I think the safer side is just waiting for price to carry out here. That will be confirmation number one, and then confirmation number two, wait for correction to sell, right? Because we see this kind of structure a lot. We see this head and shoulder pattern developing as well. If this is going to be the right shoulder, then head and shoulder, top of the overall structure, top of the continuation pattern for this bearish move, so impulse correction, and looking for the next breakdown from here point forward. Okay, so that's pound dollar here. Pound dollar is just as good as Kiwi dollar, but I still would choose Kiwi dollar over pound dollar in my opinion. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD, talk about this in the weekly outlook as well. Liking the bottom, right? We have this kind of potential double bottom, and we have this bullish push up and then potential bullish continuation. So this kind of a flag kind of structure is very good. We're just looking for a little bit more lower time frame development, I would say. You can see that price is likely to break out now. It's kind of en route for that direction. So good for looking for a correction here to continue the buy to the previous top, because overall, structurally, you still have to understand that we're in this overall larger structure. So this buy move can happen, but understanding that from a higher time frame perspective, this overall structure can just be a corrective structure for this move down, right? So once the price reach to the top here, want to be a little bit more careful and then kind of reevaluate to see if the price will continue up or going to reverse from this top point forward down. Okay. So so that's dollar CAD. Again, better dollar pairs than a few of the other ones. I know you guys probably see a few other dollar pairs. I personally still see Kiwi dollar, pound dollar, dollar CAD looking pretty good. Dollar peso, I want to talk about this one really quick because I also made a post on this one. Just went over pound dollar, buddy. So pound dollar, like I said, top of the overall structure looks really clean from overall price condition. But because it's pretty erratic, so waiting for a breakout from this point forward would be more ideal. I'll have to update all those equity weight later on, okay? So going through the currency first and then jumping to equities and commodity later. So dollar peso, I like the dollar peso because this larger structure looks really clean. This is a larger, higher time frame parallel channel, and we clearly have a bottom here. Okay, price has been. You can see that when price had this kind of a descending channel within the larger structure, very likely that we're going to see the bullish move. So we got the bullish move, but then we start dropping down, meaning that this correction wasn't finished at the time. So it's expanding into a larger structure. And kind of the latest price action you see here is very clean. We have this double bottom here and kind of a descending channel or falling wedge, and looking for pretty much the lower time frame kind of first bullish opportunity, right? We know that price is corrective in this area in this kind of a channel wedge structure, and looking for a breakout here would be ideal, or simply just enter at the bottom here is also a possibility as well, right? It's one of the breakout entries I talk about, or you can wait for a correction after breakout. That's also valid as well, in my opinion. But structurally wise, price action wise, because we're at the bottom here, we just broke the previous low. We broke the low pretty correctively. So I do see the squeeze coming in. Just let the price squeeze a little itself a little bit more and looking for the bullish opportunity. Again, same thing with dollar CAD I just went over. You kind of see what the previous high would do and see if the price going to react to this area. Okay, so that's dollar peso. Let's move on to a few other ones that I was looking at. Talk about Aussie CAD really quick because Kiwi CAD looks better, but Aussie CAD had the sell from here, and this was looking pretty clean when we were looking at it a few days ago, in my opinion. Um, Price has was in this kind of a rising wedge structure, right? And then we see this kind of head and shoulder pattern as well. Looks really clean. And then we had this kind of a right shoulder as well, and potentially looking for downside, right? And we did see that happening, and for a little bit of time, sorry, we did see that happening just for a little bit of time. We see this drop down continue, and then kind of push back from this point forward. So what am I seeing this now? Well, this can be another structure. It's just a structure to correct this move potentially, and then still looking for the downside from this point forward. But not as clean as Kiwi dollar though. Okay, so I just want to touch base on this one because I saw some of you guys shorting this one. So from this position, I remember. So but I think Kiwi CAD looks a little bit cleaner than Aussie CAD here. The Aussie Swiss, again, structurally, we're at the top of the area now, right? And we talk about this every time is that when we're at the top of the overall structure and we want to be looking for a reversal, right? We know that top of the structure here, we just broke the previous double top area, and price is rather corrective in this area. It's not really going to break out this overall larger structure. Instead, it's very consolidated in this area. So usually it's a good sign that price is going to reverse from the top, and then we can potentially see this bearish move down. So what I would do, what I would look for, because this is shaping up to be some sort of W pattern that I talk about, top of the overall structure, potentially a reversal from the top. Okay, so I want to be looking for pretty much a little bit more bearish momentum to continue down because I was looking at the structure, looking for a sell from this point. Remember, we had the first push down and then correction was looking for continuation, but instead we're just forming a larger structure here, which is fine because even at the top here, I do see a potential sell from here now if it forms a correction, or I can wait for a correction after breakout as well. So I think both of them are pretty valid depending on your risk tolerance. That's Aussie Swiss. Let's go to a few yen pairs. I know they kind of push up a little bit more than what we expected to, but let's take a look because I still see a few yen pair that can play out. I do stocks, but after currency, okay? I have a lot to talk about. Usually take me an hour to go through a lot of these every day, okay? Appreciate that. So let's look at Aussie yen really quick. So Aussie yen was looking for the sell from this point forward. We had this price drop down and then was looking at this as a similar correction like this to potentially fall down. But instead, prices just continue popping up now. So obviously no trade now at this point. But price action wise, structure wise, you can still expect price to kind of react to the previous top, right? Because we're still in this larger kind of structure here. This is still an impulsive move, and we still see a larger correction in the making. So let it correct itself if it's going to correct all the way to the top, and then looking for a bearish move down from this point forward. I think that makes more valid sense to do. Pound yen, similar idea. I was looking for what the price will do at this previous top, because this can be a clear kind of a structure correction for this move, and we're going to potentially push down this point forward. But instead, we're seeing price pop to the upside, and but it's in rather corrective. So don't discount this one yet, because structurally this can just evolve into something like this, more of an expanding structure that we see a lot on other pairs. And if we can get some sort of correction, a reversal correction here, we push down, and then potentially this can be just that continuation we talk about for this move. Okay, so don't discount it. Don't discount the yen pairs yet. Okay, they can still play out. Even if this kind of continue push to the previous top, I would be still interesting to see what the price will do at the previous top area. Okay, so that's pound yen and Kiwi yen. Kiwi yen was looking for a previous top here. Remember, I talked about structurally was forming a continuation. I was kind of looking to see what the price would do in this area, and also had a pretty good kind of ascending channel structure as well. It just didn't play out, or it didn't push down from this point forward. Instead, that was the Kiwi news that we saw, right? Up to the upside, that's fine. And because we just broke the previous top, but we're still at the top of the overall structure. So I still like Kiwi Yen's overall structure. You can see that every time when we see Kiwi Yen reach the top, right, that's a good sell opportunity from the top, right? So this time, no difference. It's just that we're making a larger structure potentially. This can be a W style pattern I talk about. We just break the previous top, which is good. So lower time frame wise, whatever correction it's going to make here is super important now, in my opinion, is that looking like it can be a bullish continuation. Okay, but also this can just be a reversal correction. We start seeing price going down, right? Remember, I always talk about when you see a correction, it's either going to be continuation or reversal, right? But you have to assess it based on other time frames and other kind of price conditions, right? But to me personally, my bias is still the short, because we're in this overall larger structure on the higher time frame, and we just hit the top once more. And price action wise, I like this kind of a scoop area, W style pattern. So this could be that reversal correction, and we can see the bearish move down from this point forward. And higher time frame wise, still makes sense, still make valid sense for me to see this as a kind of a parallel channel or ascending channel, so to speak. So you see the same kind of ascending channel as well. Okay. So that's Kiwi yen. Let's move on to a few other ones. Euro pound, yeah, Euro pound still on my watch list. I know it's still on everybody's watch list. They're still looking for the bearish move. Apologize, I say bearish, or I meant to say bullish, obviously. Structurally, we're in this overall higher time frame structure, right? But this latest kind of price action really gives me a little bit more clarity. We had this kind of a consolidation phase, and we had a first impulsive move up, and then another consolidation phase. But we're right back at the previous bottom, right? Right back at the previous bottom, even a recent double bottom. So everything looking very clean just for that bullish move up, right? We had this previous double bottom. We had a previous kind of a higher time frame double bottom. Had this first push up. This is just a more of an expanding structure. And can we break up from here and then continue upwards? I think that's going to be, again, the two option to buy, right? If we zoom out here, first option, just breaking out of this overall small structure. Second buy would be breaking out this higher time frame structure. And again, just looking for the previous top, because we understand structurally from a higher time frame, this is still a big impulse. This is just a corrective phrase. Once this larger correction is finished, we're still likely to see the bearish move continuation. Okay, so that is Euro pound. Let's move on to a few other ones. So Euro Kiwi is the one that I'm looking for. Very clean kind of structure. I'll go to the higher time frame really quick. So higher time frame wise, we've been dropping since from this correctional structure, right? We talk about this from the top. We have a few cells set up on the top and continue to drop. And what's key here now is we're at the previous low. Okay, we just broke the recent low as well, but very correctively. So if you're going down to a higher time frame, we know that we're at the bottom of the structure now, right? Price has already dropped down pretty much, pretty impulsively as well, and it doesn't seem like it's going to continue. Rather, we're seeing here on the lower time frame that we're seeing this kind of a descending channel structure, okay, and we're at the previous low already. So how would I approach this is because we already had this reversal correction, okay? You can see that we had this push down correction impulse. Instead of forming a continuation correction to push down more, instead we form a reversal correction, we push the price up. And this is what I always want to look for when I see this kind of price action is that overall larger kind of parallel channel structure, and we're at the previous double bottom as well. We had this reversal price action, first push up, looking for a continuation correction here. Continue to buy to the previous top will be very valid, and even continue forward this point forward. Okay, so but this will be kind of the first target in my opinion, looking for a buy out of this. So that's Euro Kiwi, one of my preferred one to go for. Let's look at CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss. So overall, still in this overall structure, we know that higher time frame wise, I made this analysis. We talk about we're in this larger structure, but we still is a very corrective structure for this push down this, right? So we're in this larger structure, good, and we just broke the previous high. So again, double top here, and then reversal correction, right? We see this reversal correction, and this is what I talk about. It's the same as Kiwi Yen, that example I just did, is that if you go down to lower time frame, you see this push up, right? You see this strong push up to the up, and you're automatically thinking, okay, so this correction should continue forward. No, this correction becomes a reversal correction, right? And then you can see price pretty much just impulse down and then potentially forming a continuation correction pushing down more, right? So that's why you have to be a little bit more patient and observe kind of what the higher time frame will, and what the price condition is telling you. The difference here is we know that this is a double top area. We know that this is a corrective kind of price action for this move along. So it's not quite likely this can continue forward. Rather, what it's doing is forming that correction, forming that reversal correction to push the price down. Okay, so looking for this bearish move, of course, looking for this correction to finish, and then potentially breaking out of the structure as well. That would be a good trade down to the lows. Let's move on to KiwiCAD. So KiwiCAD, again, still on my watch list, still favor, just like Euro Kiwi and Kiwi and all the Kiwi pairs, even though they had that news event or whatever. But doesn't really matter, okay? Because like I said, structurally doesn't change. It creates a little bit of volatility in the correction, but when you look at the higher time frame, when you look at the overall pictures, still nothing changed in my perspective, okay? So when we look at this, we broke the previous high, but we broke the previous high super correctively, right? This is clearly an ascending channel structure. Clearly, we're at the top of the overall price condition, and we're seeing this W style pattern again, right? If we zoom out here, that on the higher time frame, you see this W style pattern, right? And when we zoom to the higher time frame, you're at the top of the overall structure, right? Very good price action wise. This is where area that we will be looking for a potential sell. I think the sell will be very valid, very keen to just even down to the bottom here. There's super a lot of risk reward in this area here. Okay, so uh, going down to the lower time frame, two options in my opinion, because price is already breaking out, so which is good. Then either a correction here would be nice, or waiting for price to completely break out here and correction to go would be also nice. Okay, but structurally, you know we're at the top here now. We know this is a corrective structure. We know this is likely to be a reversal correction. So looking for that push down will be very good. And when it happens, it's going to be very sharp, right? It's when we finish this corrective kind of price action, um, the bearish sell is going to be happening very fast. Okay. Kiwi Swiss. Kiwi Swiss is also another one I'm looking at, very similar like Euro Kiwi, right? We know this their correlated price action, and very similar like Kiwi Cat, right? Double top here on the higher time frame. Again, ascending channel structure pushing the price up, and then higher time frame wise, we know that this can very well be a very corrective structure to push the price down from this point forward. We had this kind of overall scoop kind of formation. Okay, we're at the previous top now, and you can see kind of that descending, ascending channel, sorry, even clearly on the higher time frame. So very good, very clean. Again, two options. Looking like price is exactly doing this, it's going to form a correction here, and then looking for a sell out of that, or and then looking for continuation, right? And then let it form some sort of head and shoulder pattern. And this will be the second sell opportunity, in my opinion. Down to the previous low will be your first target, and down to the actual lows of the structure will be a very good target as well. Okay. Can I trade Forex in Robinhood? I don't think so, buddy. You need a Forex broker, but there's many Forex brokers. What else? Not much. Pound CAD just kind of maybe watch this. I see this as a push down, and this is the overall structure, corrective structure, sorry. And forming this piece is very ascending in nature. You want to say is a rising wedge, but the point is very reversal corrective, right? So again, waiting for a breakout, waiting for a continuation. Very clean head and shoulder as well, top of the overall structure, right? So looking for continuation because multi-time frame analysis, right? Made a video just about that yesterday. We know that when we had an impulse on the higher time frame, corrective, and then looking for the continuation on a higher time frame, right? So that's pound CAD, and that's all the currency ones I'm looking at for today. No, I didn't actually. I didn't talk about this because I'm leaving the equity till the end. But I just want to make sure talk about all the currency pairs. Scott, thank you. Found you last night on TradingView. Good job cleaning. You're a real deal. Appreciate that. Let's continue if there's no question here on currencies. Let's talk about a few commodities. Really talk about gold. Really. Um, I will talk about those two, AMD and SPCEA, after after I talk about commodities. Okay, I'll jump into equity really quick. All right. So looking at gold here, I'm not sure if you guys got in this sell. I personally did not, but I do think it's a valid sell when I talk about when we have a strong impulse out of this correction, and potentially this is a continuation, right? Continuation, correction, and then impulse out. So this is all looking good, and then looking like because we just broke the previous low, and I do have a strong belief now we can turn into a bearish kind of trend on gold, right? And looking because we've been dropping so much, if we zoom out here, this is an impulse correction impulse, right? So not likely to continue falling like this. What it likely to do is going to form some sort of correction, right? We see this is how the price moves over and over, is that after a strong push, it needs time to correct. After a strong push, it needs time to correct, right? So this is the same idea. We had a strong push, we had a correction, we had another strong push. So correction likely to happen here and then continue downwards. Okay, so this looks more attractive now because we broke the previous low, which is key here, right? You'll see why I talk about prices likely to always react to the previous low, right? Because you understand that first sell here, right? Sell to the bell, and I talk about when it break the previous low, that's when first target or what you should be looking for to take profit on because price is likely to form larger corrective, which is what happened in this case. And again, we had the strong push down to the previous low once again, and then forming a correction, but this time it continues downwards. Okay. So that's gold. It's going to be same as silver. Silver really hasn't break out this overall structure, but we see the same push down, same correction, same small push down, same small correction, and then still push down. So very similar like gold, but we're just still in this kind of a structure alone, whereas gold looks much cleaner because it already break out, right? So continuation here would be nice. So that's commodities. Okay, any question, let me know. If not, I'm gonna jump to into a few equities now. I think you guys are looking at a few equities here. So I'll jump to ACB really quick. I know some of you guys are looking at this. Personally, personally, I was looking for a correction after we break out, right? We have this longer kind of a parallel channel or kind of a falling wedge, whatever it is, it's very corrective, right? After from this move. And we all know once the correction is finished, we're going to get the impulsive phrase. But after the impulsive phrase, can we get continuation, right? There was no continuation here. I remember there was some news that popped out. I was kind of looking for a continuation, something like this. But instead, we had some news drop down. But if we zoom in here, we're still seeing the correction. We see this push up, we see this push down, but we had a period of consolidation, and now we push up again, which is good because it's likely to be forming correction here to continue to the previous top. Okay, so I do like ACB. I do like how we're at the bottom of the overall structure, which is good, right? We talk about this when you see prices at the very low of the overall kind of price action, right? And when you see these kind of reversal bullish kind of opportunity, um, likely they're going to be reversing. All right. So jumping to Boeing really quick. Talk about Boeing. This was the buy setup here on Boeing, right? We break out this overall parallel channel. First breakout, first correction. So correction after breakout, and then looks like it's going to continue forward this point. Talk about this one, Goldman Sachs. We had this impulsive move, we had this larger correction, and we finally break out here. So I think looking for a tangible correction here now on the 1 hour 4-hour chart would be much more sense to potentially hitting the previous top. Okay, this was the COVID drop, right? But we had this COVID recovery. So impulse up and then larger correction in the making, just looking for continuation up this point forward. Intel, same idea, correctional structure. We push up, looking for a lower time frame correction to push up. Looks very clean, by the way. So, but what I'm looking at, Nike is good. I'm looking at Tesla, of course. So hopefully some of you guys will turn into Tesla because this was the buy setup here, right? I talk about this a lot, and I'll talk about this same setup I meant. I talk about this same setup is that once price finishes larger correction, right? Larger correction, we break out a correction, and then the first continuation correction is always the key, right? First continuation, we push up, and then again, larger continuation in the making, and then first push up, and then first correction here is always the valid buy, in my opinion. Okay, so Tesla, that's good, and that's about it, all the ones I'm looking at. So I'll go over. So AMD, if this is one you're looking at, looks very clearly for the upside, right? We had this kind of bullish push up, correction, bullish push. This is a larger correction. So wait for this correction to finish and then wait for the breakout and wait for a continuation. Looks very clean to me. I don't think I ever see this, but looks very clean from a price action. SPCE. Not seeing too much. Maybe I'm seeing this from a higher time frame, but it looks a little bit bearish to me because we had this impulsive move up, we had a reversal impulse, and this is pretty much a corrective structure. So waiting to see what the price will do at the previous top for a potential sell is kind of what I'm seeing for SPCE. Okay, so that's all the equity ones I'm looking at for the next 24, 40 hours. And jumping to the crypto really quick. I know some of you guys also like the cryptos. Sorry, eliminate these circles. So I talk about this in the weekly outlook. I know the price is still continue climbing, but I'm really personally just not interested. Talk about this because I understand that we already move so fast, so up. It's just unlikely, it's unsustainable that we're reaching to the previous top now. and that price is going to continue. It just doesn't make too much sense from a structure point of view. What it's likely to do is it can break to the top, and then we're just going to form deeper correction, kind of tagging a lot of people out. And then once the correction finishes, we're still going to see the upside, right? Correction like this, or even a larger correction like this, right? You can see this is a larger correction now to correct this move, right? This move is just as strong. Um, this move alone is just as strong as this move that we're seeing, right? So a larger correction really wouldn't be, I wouldn't really be surprised, right? Especially we're at a key area at the previous all-time top now, right? You're just going to get a lot of inexperienced traders who are just going to buy once it breaks this level, right? It's very keen. It's just because that's their logic. They're going to buy after we break the high, and then they're just going to get taken out by the bigger players, right? Because the bigger players are always going to be looking for the sell because they know so many newbies are going to be buying here, right? It's likely to just be forming a larger correction, and because larger players are selling here, takes on a bunch of small guys, and then once this correction is finished, something like this or something like this, right? And then we're just going to see a takeoff again, right? And then you're going to get a lot of people blaming crypto, blah, 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 right? But seriously, we're looking at structurally, we understand that's what's going to happen. You know, people talk about manipulation, people talk about all this, all that, you know, all bank controlling or hedge fund. Doesn't really matter, right, guys? Because whether or not they control it or they don't control it, it doesn't really matter to you because you're not going to affect their decision whatsoever. So why not take that as a take that information and understand that, okay, so if you know manipulation is likely to happen here, so why not follow through it, right? Why not be patient? You know manipulation is happening here, so be patient, wait for things to settle down, and then wait for once all this is over, once all this consolidation is over, and then start looking for buy, right? Instead of being negative about, you know, people manipulating or, you know, things are scripts, things are scam, whatever. That's all negative thinking. Why not take advantage of it, right? That's kind of how I see in terms of trading, in terms of market. Okay, so that's about it. I don't see much else on any of the cryptos. So, any question, guys? Any question for today? Any question for today on any of the pairs I'm looking at for this upcoming 24, 40 hours? All right, so let me know if you guys have any questions or anything. Like I said, I post all my stuff on the Telegram and YouTube and things like that. So you guys are free to watch those if you guys want. And that's about it. If there's no questions, I don't not see too many things happening here. So wait for a little bit more development would be nice. Okay. NEO, is that crypto or a stock? Uh, yeah, it looks pretty clean to me, if I'm seeing this correctly. So we had this push up from the market, right? We had this correctional structure. You see that once we had this impulse, correction impulse, but then instead of a continuation pushing down, we have a reversal, right? And price push up from this. So I do think a continuation here, something like in the size of this, would be ideal to push the price up to the previous high, right? It looks clean to me because that way This is a left shoulder head and right shoulder if it's going to develop. So inverse head and shoulder to push the price up. That's kind of how I see on this one. Yeah, that's it. Anything else, guys? Anything else you guys are seeing or anything you want me to take a look at? Okay, so no other questions. Like I said, if you have any additional things, find me on Telegram. I'll answer your questions on there, and then I will do another outlook. I'll do another market update, hopefully Wednesday or Thursday morning. So, and I'll talk about what's on my agenda for the next 24, 40 hours from that date. All right. So, thank you very much for tuning to this one, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Thank you very much.